Excellent, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the December 16th virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver and I am the current chairman of the Historic Business District. This meeting hopefully will unfold as follows. As soon as the Central Permitting Coordinator, Sarah Clark, reads the Governor Directive concerning these virtual meetings, we'll call a virtual roll call of the members who are present who will be hearing the applications this afternoon. After that is done, we'll move right on to the minutes, and as soon as those are approved, we'll move right on to the applications. We ask that as soon as our clerk reads your application, that you unmute yourself and make your presence known and give a brief synopsis of your proposed project. Thank you. So, as I said, the first order of business will be the reading of the Governor's Directive concerning these meetings. Sarah?
Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to the meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 268-420-208#. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible.
Thank you, Sarah. And now for the verbal roll call. We'll find out who's here. I believe it's everybody. Our Vice Chair, Darcy Sequin.
Darcy Sequin here.
Okay, our Clerk, Sam Stribert.
Sam Stribert here.
Regular member, Bob Burns.
Bob Burns here.
Okay, first alternate, Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan here.
Second alternate, Steve DuBois.
Steve DuBois is here.
Excellent. All right, so all are present. As I said, we'll now go on to the minutes and we'll approve those, hopefully very fast. And those are of December 2nd. Does anybody have any corrections or?
Yeah, this is Darcy. I have 3 typos. The first one is on page 1. At the bottom, Steve DuBois abstain. I think it should be abstain. And then on page 2, the first sentence, Mr. Zambas stated that the previous cupola should be deteriorated. And then the third, the fourth bullet point down after questions and comments, adding back something that was integral. That's just misspelled.
Very good. All right, anybody else? All right, do we have a motion?
Doug Grattan will make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended per Darcy Sequin's spelling corrections as presented.
Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Now we'll have a roll call vote. Darcy?
Darcy's here.
Do you approve?
Oh, the vote. I'm sorry. Darcy's in favor.
Okay, Sam?
Sam Stribert approved.
Okay, Bob?
Bob Burns approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves.
Steve?
And Steve DuBois approves.
As does Dan Silver. Thank you very much. Okay, that gets those out of the way. Now, Sam, for our first application.
Yes, we have signs of 20-108 Expressions Gallery, care of Stephen Koppel, application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 578 Main Street.
All right, do we have a representative here? Oh,
Hi.
themselves?
Yes, this is Steve Koppel. I'm here.
Hello, Steve, what can you tell us?
Yes, well, thank you all for considering my application this afternoon. I live in Brewster, and I'm excited to be opening a photography gallery in Chatham at 578 Main Street. The lease starts in January, and I'm planning to open in the spring. You can see on the picture that's up on the screen now what I am proposing for the signage to look like: Expressions Gallery, and then Stephen Koppel Photography. You're probably all familiar with the building. I'm proposing the sign to be exactly the same size and look and feel as the existing Longfellow design sign that's up there. So it will be in black and white. The size will be exactly the same at 109 inches by 31 inches. And it will be made of wood composite with engraved lettering painted white. And so that is what my application is.
Well, that's an excellent presentation. Thank you. Sam, what does the sign agent have to say about the sign?
The proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Very good. And we'll move on to move on to the members and see if they have any questions or comments. Darcy?
Well, I think it's an excellent looking sign, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sam?
Well, I'm just looking for, and I've not seen, that's the Expressions Gallery. Is that the same proportion as the Longfellow? Oh, I see.
Yes, Sam, it is exactly the same size as the existing Longfellow sign.
Well, it's a pretty good S.
Thank you.
Robert?
Stephen, I like the fact that you're keeping it consistent, the black and white with the building. It pretty much aligns with the Sarah Campbell black and white. So it's a nice presentation.
Well, thank you. And that was very much the idea. I wanted it to fit in, and obviously that, for a lot of reasons. So I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm going to ambush Steve.
No, I think it's a nice sign. It doesn't appear that there's a frame around it like there was on the Longfellow sign, so that it'll be more in line with the Sarah Campbell sign. So it's perfectly fine.
Doug?
I think it looks great. I have no questions.
Okay, I don't either. I think it's great. Excellent presentation and a great sign.
Well, thank you.
My 2 cents worth. Yep. All right. We'll see if there's a motion. Is there a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion for application 20-108, Expressions Gallery, care of Stephen Koppel. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 578 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further questions or comments from the members of the commission? You can wave your hand or no. I'll go through them. Darcy?
No questions.
Okay, Sam?
No questions.
Bob?
No questions.
Doug?
Doug, no questions.
Steve?
No questions.
I don't either. We're going right on to the vote then. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin approves.
Okay,
Sam
Sam?
Schreiber approves.
Robert?
Bob Burns approves.
Doug?
Doug Grant approves.
Okay, Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Dan Silver approves as well. Very good. Excellent. As I said, excellent application and presentation. Thank you. All right. Congratulations on that. Sam?
Well, thank you very much.
Our second sign application is 20-109, Expressions Gallery, care of Stephen Koppel. Application to install a hanging wall sign on the structure located at 578 Main Street.
Right. I'm sure that he hasn't gone home yet.
No, I'm still here. So obviously you're.
Excuse me,
Okay.
the sign coordinator has said that the proposed hanging wall sign complies with the sign code.
Excellent. Thank you, Sam. All right, Steve?
Oh, Chad, thank you. Yes, there is not a current, there was a Longfellow sign that was hanging on this bracket, but it has since been removed, so I've circled the bracket there. So I'm basically proposing the exact same lettering, just obviously, formatted in a narrower space. So the bracket accommodates a 40-inch wide sign, maybe 26 inches tall, is signed, basically installed on that exact bracket that's already there. And that would be my proposal. And it would be two-sided, manufactured with the exact same materials, the wood composite with the white lettering, just as on the wall sign.
Thank you, sir. Going to start with Steve. Any questions, Steve?
All right, no, I think it's a nice sign. I'm concerned that I don't know if you've taken any measurements, but if you come 2 feet off of that bracket, probably 30 inches off of that bracket, considering if there's going to be a chain or something holding it up, is that going to impede any pedestrian traffic there? Because 2 feet looks like it might be around the bottom of that light fixture there.
Yeah, I did measure it, and there is approximately going to be 8 feet of clearance still. So I didn't anticipate that being a problem. I was thinking about that.
Okay, then as long as you did that, then it's fine. It's a nice sign.
Thank you.
Doug?
My only question, I take it this sign is not lighted?
That's correct. That would not be a lighted sign. You can see the 2 lights over the wall sign, but I was not planning to light the hanging sign, although I hadn't thought about it. But as of now, I don't have any lights on it.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to interject here. This is Dan Silver. He has got 2 lights on either side of the door, Bob, that will probably give that sign some light, So anyway, all right. Bob?
I have no questions. I think it's again, and a very nice sign.
Sam?
No questions.
Darcy?
No questions.
All righty then. We ready for a motion?
Doug Grattan will make a motion for application 20-109, Expressions Gallery, care of Steve Coppell. Application to install a hanging wall sign on the structure located at 578 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
Okay, we have a motion that's been seconded. So last chance for any comments or questions. Darcy?
No questions.
Sam?
Sam Stryman, no questions.
Robert?
Burns, no questions.
Doug?
Doug Grattan, no questions?
Steve?
Steve DeBoer has no questions.
Neither does Dan Silver. All right, so we'll move on to voting. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin in favor.
Sam?
Sam Stryver approved.
Robert?
Burns approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves?
Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Dan Silver approves as well. Excellent. Thank you once again.
Well, thank you all. I greatly appreciate it, and good luck with all your other deliberations today.
Well, best of the holidays.
Okay, you too. Thank you, everybody. And I can hang up now, right? I'm done.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, thanks again.
All right, Sam?
Additions, alterations. Application 20-110, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 89 Depot Road. Now, I could read the next 5, but they all say the same things with
We can
different
discuss all
numbers
of
and
them.
addresses.
The direction that I got from staff, our secretary, was that we can do that, Sam, but we'll have to make a motion for each one of them anyways. So if you folks want to do that?
Yes.
Simple enough. Okay, Sam, go ahead. So you're at 20-10.
What, can I abbreviate the agenda to just be the application number and the address?
Sarah?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so it's the same it's 20-111. It's the same Oyster Heights condominium application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 91 Depot Road. Application 20-112 at the same location with the same activity at 93 Depot Road. Application 20-113, same location, same activity at 95 Depot Road. And 20-114, same location, same activity at 97 Depot Road. Application 20-115, same location, same activity at 99 Depot Road.
Excellent, Sam. All righty. Very good. Let's find out what the first one's like, then we'll know what the rest of them. What are you proposing to do? What with the rubber roof and the floating deck railings? What can you tell us? Do we have the applicant here?
We do, Mr. Clifford. You just need to unmute yourself.
There he is.
So, if Mr. Clifford, if you scroll in the middle of your screen, you can just check off the little microphone. There you go. I'm going to share my screen for.
Hey, very good, Dan.
There we go. Mr. Clifford there? Do we have Mr. Clifford, Sarah?
We do.
Okay.
So if he wants me to progress through the slides, he just needs to tell me which one to go through.
Well, it says they're all the same. Why don't we start with 20-110?
I don't think he's figured out about the microphone yet. That's me. There he is. See, he's talking away. Microphone.
Okay, so Mr. Clifford, if you scroll into the middle of your screen, hover over the middle, you're going to see a microphone icon. You're going to click on that to unmute yourself. That way the board members can hear you. It's not working? Okay, so if you could please call, do you have a phone available? Cell phone, something, so that way they can hear you. If you call the phone number 508-945-4410. And then you're going to punch in the conference ID and give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So you'll put in a conference ID of 268 420 208 and then the pound key. And you should be able to be heard at the moment.
Okay, yeah, thank
There
you. I
you
don't know
go.
what's wrong.
Perfect.
I'm clicking the
Right.
button off and on and it's not doing
No
anything.
problem.
Good work, you
Okay.
guys. Good work,
Yeah,
Sarah.
thank you very much. Appreciate that. So yes, there's 6 buildings on the property or on the premise here at Oyster Heights. Each building has 2 sunrooms, and we're doing all of the sunroom roofs. We're removing these cast iron railings that you see there, taking apart the white cedar siding that joins the roofs so that the rubber roof can be run up the wall from there. And we are putting a new floating deck back on, and we are doing an AZEK railing system back in place of the cast iron railing.
Well, that's pretty straightforward. All right. So, and that's true of all applications, is that right?
Yep, every building is identical, and all the work is the same throughout.
All right, let's find out what the members think about it. Sam?
So you won't have these cast iron newels and rails with infill. You'll have those. That.
Yep.
Okay, so it won't be identical. When you take the flashing, or when you turn the rubber roof up, how far will you go?
You mean up the wall?
Yes.
24 inches.
Okay. Will you have to take that entire wall of shingles off, or will you be able to reapply?
We're, on the one side, we're going to go the whole small square section. If you go, down there to that picture. I mean, on the right side there, we're going to go that just small rectangle. So from the roof up to the freeze board. And then on the left side, there's actually a window. You can almost see the trim get cut off on the very left of that picture.
Yeah.
So it will step back to that window and then go vertically up to the freeze board. And same, so that rectangular section as well.
So will the sliding door have to come out so that you can go over the sill?
We're going to be popping them out, and then running the rubber up inside the sill and then popping them back into place.
Okay. So
we're going to do a full corner curb flashing up inside the whole opening.
Will you put the same trim back?
Yep. Same AZEK trim is going to go back, same size to match the existing style.
Same thing for the corner board, maybe?
The corner board is a little beyond the roof, so that doesn't have to come off at all.
Okay, that sounds like a good job. Thanks.
Yep.
It'll look better with a more traditional railing structure on.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll fit in. This is the principal look thing that we're concerned with. Do you have any stairs like that?
No, there's no stairs anywhere.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Darcy?
Sam did a pretty good job there with questions, and I have no further questions.
All righty. Robert?
Just one question. After the membrane up the wall, the shingles will be reapplied?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Same natural?
Yep, Eastern White Cedar, clear R&R. Yep.
Okay. No further questions. Looks good.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Doug?
I have no questions. I think it'd be a great improvement, so.
Okay. Steve?
I have no questions. I think it's a nice improvement.
No, I agree with our Vice Chair Darcy that Sam did a great job pushing that, and I think they've done a great job replacing the roofing and the siding. So I have no questions. All right.
Great, thank you.
All right. The way this is going to unfold, folks, I believe Sarah told me, is that what we're going to have to do, Doug, if you're so inclined, is to make a motion for each one of the applications.
At one time, Dan?
Yeah, we might as well make a motion right down through. We'll do the voting and everything else, all right?
Okay. All right, so Doug.
I will need a roll call for each of the different applications, but you can make the motions for each, and then we'll do a roll call, and in the minutes will reflect that you're doing a roll call for applications 110 through 115.
Okay, so he's still going to make a motion for each one of the individual applications, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, all righty. Go ahead, Doug.
All right, so Doug Bratton's going to make a motion for application numbers 20-110, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford, Application to replace rubber roof on floating deck and railings on the structure located at 89 Depot Road. And application number 20111, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 91 Depot Road. Application 20-112, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 93 Depot Road. Application 20-113, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 95 Depot Road. Application 20-114, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 97 Depot Road. And application 20-115, Oyster Heights Condominium Trust, care of Patrick Clifford. Application to replace rubber roof, floating deck, and railings on the structure located at 91 Depot Road as presented.
All right,
Darcy-
if we have a second here, I believe we'll go the same way with a second. Is that correct, Sarah?
Darcy Seacon will second the motion for 20-110, 20-111, 20-112, 20-113, 20-114, 20-115.
All righty, very good. So now we'll go, Sarah, we're not going to do a roll call. Are we going to do a roll call individually for each one?
No, since you made the motion for all of the different applications, you can do a roll call as one, and we'll reflect in the minutes that the roll call is for each of the separate applications.
All right, then. Does anybody have any questions, further questions for the gentleman? No? Darcy? No?
No,
Sam?
Nope.
Bob?
No,
Doug?
Doug Ratton, no.
Steve? Du Bois?
Steve DeBoer, no further questions.
There's Dan Silva. So what we'll do is, this is a roll call now to approve 20-110, 20-111, 20-112, 20-113, 20-114, and 20-15. So it's a roll call to approve the motion that has been seconded for those particular applications. All right, Darcy,
Darcy Sequin approves.
Sam,
Sam Stryver approved.
Robert,
Bob Burns approves.
Doug,
Doug Ratton approves.
Steve,
Steve DeBoer approves.
as does Daniel Silver approves. So that's good. We got through all those. That's amazing. Thank you, Sarah. That was a little organization there. Appreciate that. All right, congratulations. That was a good application. All right, Sam.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
No problem.
You
Well
too.
done, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye now.
Jim, where does that leave us?
Okay, so we have pre-application conferences.
Yeah.
Town of Chatham, care of Kathleen Donovan. Pre-application to discuss proposed EV charging stations located at 261 Ryder Road.
Very good. Sarah, is Katie with us, or are you doing it? Oh, there's Katie.
Here I am. Hi,
How you
everybody.
doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I'm just going to remind you that whatever conclusions the commission members come to at this point are non-binding. You know that. I don't have to tell you that, but you're aware of it, right? As this is a pre-application conference. Very good. So what's up?
So, so Sarah is sharing some plans with you on the screen. So we will be back before you at your January 6th meeting for a formal application. But the town is proposing to put electric vehicle charging stations at both the town hall annex and the town offices on Main Street as well. But for right now, we'll just focus on 261 George Ryder Road. As you can see on the plan in front of you, there are two, so there's a red star in the front of the building, and then there's two blue stars in the back of the building. That's because we're differentiating because they're technically two different projects, though we're asking for approval, based on in one application. So the front, I'm sorry, if I can go to the two at the rear of the building. So that's where our our town vehicles are. And so those locations are proposed to be for town, the electric vehicles that the town currently has and may have in the future. So we're looking to put charging stations in the back. Currently, we're just using, we're just plugging into the building, and having the charging stations will provide a much better opportunity for charging, these vehicles. The one in the front would be intended for public use. And so that is actually through a different, that's actually being done through Eversource. And one of the reasons I wanted to come before you tonight for the pre-application conference is Eversource was hoping to do their underground work, or to begin their underground work that would not be visible, basically in the front lawn area, for in the coming weeks, just before too much of a freeze sets in. And so so that's one of the reasons I wanted to be before you tonight, but also just to get your thoughts and feelings on the project. Sarah, if you, so these are, so this is the area in the front that we're talking about. There will be, as Sarah's circling right now, a utility box that has to go in the lawn, which we will provide some sort of a landscape screening for. And then in the parking lot, you'll see the photo on the left, the mock-up is a mock-up of the charging station and the bollards, of what it will look like moving forward, if approved, obviously. And so I just wanted to come before you tonight to get your thoughts on this. And if you have specific questions, we'll be back again. We'll be back before you on January 6th.
Excellent, Katie. Thank you. Well, I think that was pretty straightforward. Let's find out what the commission thinks. Darcy?
Yeah, I have no questions. Looks pretty straightforward to me.
Okay. Sam?
Well, being able to see these different pieces of equipment, we saw the proposed control box enclosure. I assume that's the one you intend to do some landscaping with.
Yes, that's correct. Yes,
then,
just around that.
And then the other thing, which looks very exposed on the picture, on the plan, the site plan, is some sort of control box that goes on the telephone pole. What is that?
Sarah, could you scroll back to the front picture?
So the Eversupply existing handhold Eversupply supply pole. So there's just something mounted on the pole, and then it goes underground over to the control box.
That's correct.
And then from the control box out to the charging station. What is the proposed control box enclosure? What? Oh, that's beyond. That's not hanging on the telephone pole there.
That's correct. It's a separate structure.
Yeah. It just looks on top. Looks like it's hanging from the.
Oh, I see what you're saying on that picture on the left. You're right. It does kind of look like it's hanging there.
Coincidence of a two distant. I'm not so happy about the looks of this thing, but it's a parking lot and it's in a modern area. But yellow bollards are, the whole thing is a little sketchy. But I don't see an alternative, and I think this is like the solar panels. It's the way of the future. So it's just one of those things. You have to have the bollards there because for sure someone will plow it over.
Right.
Okay, Bob?
Katie, a couple questions on the charging station. It looks like it will be taking up 2 spots in the front of the building.
It will be in between 2 spots, so that it will be between the 2 spots, so that the 2 spots have the opportunity, if there's 2 charging ports that will be utilized or be able to be utilized. Okay. I don't know, at least at the annex, from a policy perspective, if we're only going to allow that for electric vehicles charging for those spaces. we don't typically, the traffic that we typically have here is in and out. So my assumption is that they would be used only, a little more sporadically than perhaps the ones that we'll talk about,
Yeah.
at town hall.
Now, if I have a EV car, could I leave it there? How long does it take to charge? I don't have an EV car. How long does it take to charge one?
So I think it depends on the specific vehicle. It wouldn't take too long, but what we've been seeing from other communities, and this is kind of a larger policy discussion that we're having amongst town staff. The most places allow for 1 hour parking or limit the amount of time that they could be there. Some places charge for the and we haven't made that determination as to whether or not the town will charge for it or not. But so again, it's not expected that people would be there, and we would probably limit the amount of time that they could be there, so it wouldn't be, for more than a few hours at a time at the most, I would say.
Okay. And the other question I think you answered, you're still trying to consider it, is whether there's a charge.
Yeah, so what we've seen from other communities, or the research that I've done, is that I've seen that, some communities charge $2 an hour, some charge $1 an hour, and they limit the time. So it's a matter of, looking at, what types of costs we expect to, perhaps recoup, or what we expect for timing. And so again, that's just a further policy discussion that we'll be having.
Okay. And this station will allow for, if you do charge, I would assume that you could use a credit card. Is that the way it works?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that the way most of the charging stations come is they have an option that you can always add the charging port into, not the charging port, but the port for payment. A lot of them come with or without it, so that you can actually add it in later.
Okay. Okay. No further questions. That's good. Thank you.
Doug?
Hi, Katie. Just a quick question. Do you see any signage in the future that will be like, as far as an example, like handicap parking sign, or we'll say EV parking or along those lines?
It probably, yes, I would expect that we would have something along those lines. There will probably be a sign, and for your meeting on January 6th, I'll have that information, that if we have anything proposed, I'll make sure that we have that information as well.
Okay, yeah, I think it's great. So yeah, I'm happy the town's going forward with that.
Great, thanks.
Steve?
I have really no questions. It's the wave of the future, I guess. So we have to allow for this. And Bob sort of started to allude to it. But, how are we going to prevent? Maybe not so much at this site, but maybe more at 549. How are we going to prevent abuse of somebody just leaving their car there and walking to Lighthouse Beach for the day? So I don't know how that's going to be enforced. But it's probably not our purview to do that. But
well, we do have in the parking in this. Well, we can talk about it more for the 549. But we do have, in the areas where they're going, it is already considered town office parking for business at town hall. We could certainly put a time limit on those, and then typically in the summer we do have a parking control officer in the downtown area. So something that we can certainly make sure that they're on top of as well.
right. No, I understand. It just may become a little bit more work for other people to make sure that it doesn't get abused. That's all.
Right.
But it's a great idea.
Great. Thank you.
Can I have another question?
Sure.
Whenever you get a chance.
Yes, Dan.
The proposed control box enclosure. While I recognize there's probably some engineering reason why it's sitting out there all by itself in the lawn, but if I had to choose a place to put it so that it was the least obtrusive, instead of sticking in your face like this, I'd have it right next to the telephone pole, or down at the place where it makes a right turn for no reason whatever. I'd either have that or I'd have it over by the telephone pole and then going in a straight shot diagonally across the lawn. I know this drives engineers crazy, but diagonally across the lawn, right directly to the charging station. Save a little cable, save a little money, save a little labor.
I mean, I can certainly bring that up to Eversource because again, this is this charging station in front is, like I said, that's something that they're going to be working on and installing the infrastructure for us.
Yep.
And they're going to bring it to basically bring the infrastructure to the pole, and then the town will be installing the charging station itself. So I can talk with them about what their reason is for that location.
Fine. That would be great. I'd love to know what possible reason why they stick it all out by itself. It itself could get hit by a car. It's not, something everybody gets. There's a curb there, but and if it were over by the pole, it would be less obtrusive. And if it were in that corner, I wouldn't mind it so much, but I'd be much happier if it were over by the pole, and then you could go in a straight line directly to the charging station. It'll never show because why they make a right angle there, it seems craziness to me.
Okay. If that's something they can do, I'll certainly request that.
Thank you.
That happen.
Thank you.
One question I have just for the board is, during this time period between now and the formal meeting, if Eversource wanted to work on some of the underground installation, which, would that be a problem for the board? I mean, my concern now is because Sam has a concern about the location of the control box. So, but I did,
if they decided to make the changes I'm suggesting and they want to dig up the lawn, that's fine with me.
Does anybody else have any comment about Sam's suggestion? Darcy?
No, I have no comment.
Okay, Doug?
I have no problem with them doing any work underground to get the project rolling, so whatever they come up with.
Bob?
Yeah, I agree with Sam. I'd like to see it more by the pole and a diagonal, but maybe, Katie, you can get an answer pretty quickly on whether they can do it or not.
Sure.
I'll be talking with them tomorrow. So, I would have that. I would be able to talk with them.
Okay.
Steve?
Try to get some information.
Yeah, I think Sam brings up a good point. So if they can maybe, rearrange things there a little bit, if they can do it, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
All right. Katie?
So a question is, if they can't do it, I mean, is that going to be a deal breaker? I mean, we do plan, like I said, we do plan some landscape screening around it anyway.
Yes, but it looks sort of silly. Okay.
All right, Katie, I do have a suggestion. Since we
Sure.
put Cumberland Farms through such a ringer about their bollards in the front of their buildings, and they went to those colonial style bollards, I would suggest that maybe we use those here in the parking lot in front of that stanchion.
Okay.
Since the town put them through it, it's only fair that we do it ourselves, That's my opinion anyways.
Sure, and I'll work with Sarah so she could get me.
Dan, I was going to suggest that the bollards that they're proposing for the charging stations match the bollards that were installed. Let me just flip my screen real quick. So there are additional bollards along the front of the building, and possibly they match those. So that way you don't have two different types of bollards.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's agreeable to me too.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Good. All right.
Great.
All right, Katie, do you have what you need for that?
I have what we need for this property, yes, and then I think.
You want town office?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's up down there? Same.
Okay. So basically the same thing. I know Sarah's going to pull up a plan for you for the town hall parking lot. So we have two locations where we will be providing where we would like to provide charging stations. So we have one in the town hall parking lot where technically right now it's, parking for town hall business. And we would look to put two charging stations in that location, and then 2 behind the building for employee and town vehicle charging as well. So if you'll see here, this is the mock-up of the, and again, so that does have the yellow bollards, and we can see whether or not that could be changed. And then the control box, as you'll see, kind of sits across the site, across in the back of the parking lot. So, that's not as visible within that area. But so again, the photograph up on the top left, that would be in the town hall parking lot proper, where the public parking is as well. And then the other is behind, basically from the cross street entrance. There's 2 spaces back there as well. So.
Alrighty. Yeah, I know those areas well. Okay, Darcy, have you got any comments?
Yeah, I just, Katie, did you say the 2 in front of the building? Is that where the town employees park or no?
That's not where town employees park. That's actually the area where it's set aside for town hall business.
Okay.
And so we may need to take another space, perhaps like one of the employee spaces that we have along the side for town hall business as well, because these would then just be general public parking, like it is in the middle of the parking lot.
Okay.
So it's, but it's not technically employee parking. The ones in the back of the building are where employees park.
Okay. Again, somehow it has to limit the time frame that somebody's there, right?
Yes, and again, we've had, we've been discussing this from a policy perspective about, timing and things like that. And so we are coming up with solutions for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, well, which of these things is like the other? Why is the one in front of the building off center and with that little walk space? And why isn't it set in the dirt like the other one? And centered on the 2 spaces, and the spaces are normal spaces. Why is it off center like that?
I'll have to double check. And again, I can have an answer for you at the formal hearing on that specifically. I think that this is kind of using a site plan that's existing to kind of mock it up. And so I think that we will have, obviously they'll relay the lines in that area to make it.
It's just a shortened parking space and
right.
It's off center. I mean, that's the space and the charging station relationship is set as a fixed item, and then the one in the front is just different.
Right, and that may be, and I'm sorry to interrupt, I didn't mean to do that. This actually may be because this would be a handicap accessible space, and so that area in the front or at the top near the charging station would be the accessible path to gain access to that spot, to the
Oh, you have to have one of these accessible.
Yes, that's correct. In this location.
Oh, so that's the difference.
Yes.
Gee. Okay. Well, I think they ought to, I don't think it's not in the nature of providing accessible space to make it different if it's possible. But
again, and that may not, that's my assumption, but again, I'll have more information for you on this because we will be back formally before you on the 6th. So I'll have better information. This is just more of an informal, again, pre-application.
Okay, great.
Robert?
Katie, I agree with Steve. I think the signage is going to be very important to police these spaces, especially the ones in the front. And then the only other point is I hope we're not going to be painting the spaces green.
No.
So I love green, but I wouldn't like to see that if that's the plan.
Okay. And I'll double check if that's a necessity for these as well before, and I'll have the answer to that before when we come back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Doug?
I think all the questions I've had have been answered, so thank you.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I think Katie's probably got a plan, but, just how are we going to limit these to electric vehicles only? And how are we going to prevent abuse of somebody parking there for the day and just walking away? So, there's just some things that have to be ironed out. It's similar to a handicap spot. How are we going to prevent non-electric vehicles from parking in these spots? So, I'm sure we're going to have to develop some kind of a plan.
And that's, again, like I said, we've been researching how other communities are doing it as well. And so, we'll look to best practices in other locations and likely implement, similar practices here.
Right, I understand.
Yeah, as I said, I think going green is a great thing. I don't see, I have a hard time with denying 99% of the residents and visitors to Chatham the use of those 4 lots. If you're going to reserve them for EV vehicles or easy vehicles only, I don't know. I don't think it's fair, but, and I, like Doug, wouldn't want to see it painted green as it is. So I have no problems with the locations. I actually think that the employees are going to lose out, but that's, town employees are going to lose a couple of spots. The parking is so tight down there now. I mean, that would be like setting 4 parking spaces in the middle of town aside for pickup trucks only,
But Dan, 2 of the spaces are reserved for employees only anyway.
Sam, I've been down. You're absolutely right. And there's also 1 or 2 that are assigned for town business only. And I've been down there when vans are pulled up with 4 kids and the husband and wife get out and they're there for an hour and a half. So there is no control over that. You're absolutely right, Sam. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
But they've had fist fights down in that parking lot. I don't think this is going to add to it. I don't think this is alleviating anything. Giving preferential treatment to somebody who tries a particular type of car. But that has nothing to do with the looks of it. I have to say that. But anyways, I agree with everything that you said, Sam, as far as the aesthetics are concerned.
So similarly on this site, if Eversource wanted to just do their underground installation, you don't have an issue with them doing that before we come back before you formally?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Yeah. Anybody? Okay. I hate to say that. No one's going to turn it down, so I guess we can't turn it down. I don't know. Can we, Katie?
Well, certainly, I think that, the idea is that, it's the look of, but if you're approving the, the general concept of an EV charging station, I think that there's other things that we can talk about, again, the color of the bollards and, whether or not the space needs to be painted green. We have, but I think the general concept, I think is, that's kind of what we were looking for.
Yes,
Mr. Burns has a suggestion, and I was just going to ask if the commissioners had any suggestions as to plantings or suggestions for bollards or anything of that nature.
Katie, this is Bob Burns. Was there any other areas under consideration for these? Did you just look at this area, the site?
Well, I think, certainly from this perspective, I think that, in the future, we may look to add some spaces in other locations. But for right now, we were looking at, Town Hall and the annex as being 2 locations. Part of the reason of part of the location, looking at coming off, close to the building, potentially utilizing the spaces, again, in the back that were used for employees. Are you talking about 549 specifically, or are you just talking about those particular spaces?
I think the 2 in the front of the building.
Okay.
because I can see people coming in there just parking. It's so hard to park downtown. So I think if we assume that the officer is going to be able to enforce this, even this past summer, people parking over the lines on Main Street. I talked to one of the officers. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "We don't want to even go there anymore," because he said there's so many people that complain and yell at us and stuff. So that's my only point. I guess if this is the best place, then then I'm okay with it. But we shouldn't assume that police or the control officers are going to be able to enforce this. I think that's not going to happen.
Katie, this is Dan
Yeah.
Silver. I'll put my little hand up. There we go.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. My suggestion, my thoughts go, my mind goes to put 4 of the 6. I certainly think that I know that the town has an electric car, easy car that the building commissioner and others use. So, I think one out back there in that employee parking lot would be fantastic. And also, I would suggest that you put all of these down at the community center. They'll be out of the way. They won't be seen, except for the ones in the back where the employees park up at the town office in the back.
I'll make the suggestion. I know that this was done again through, this is done through a grant through Eversource. And so, I'm only recently involved in the project. So I don't, again, let me say this. Terry Whalen will be on the call with us on January 6th and can speak to a lot of the reasons why we're the specific spots are being looked at and suggested. So, and what reason that we're looking at, at Town Hall specifically for right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a really good idea. I think the idea of these is great, but putting them there in that particular parking lot is not a great idea. But whatever, life goes on. So,
and just from a perspective of, just so I can, I worked closely with the Eldridge Garage Property Planning Committee, and so they are, when we, that parking lot is redone, this is, having charging stations there was one of their recommendations as well for that location. Just knowing that it is, we do have a lot of electric vehicles in town. I've noticed them, I noticed them more so now because we have them as, fleet vehicles here. So I've noticed that there are a lot. So, I do think that, that there is a need, but again, I think, as I said, Terry will be with me presenting on the 6th. So I think he'll be able to answer.
Who owns a parking lot in the back of the Squire? Is that town?
They own a portion. The Squire actually owns a portion of the parking lot, and the town owns a portion of the parking lot.
Yeah, and you know how busy that is. I can't see taking up 4 spaces there. That would be, crazy.
Well, I think that the idea was to roll it out.
Not, it'd be crazy to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's plans necessarily for any other locations. I think it's starting to roll it out here and then seeing what the usage is before anything.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Very good, Katie. All right. Anybody have any further questions? Comments? No? Do you have what you need, Katie?
I do, and I'll see you again on the 6th. So everybody have a great holiday season, and
you have a safe one.
Thanks, you all as well. Thank you all for your time.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye. That got us through, folks. We can't comment any more about that now. That discussion is over. Okay, so we have the only other business I can think of with public comments. I don't know if there's anybody in the public that would like to make a comment, but I guess I'm part of the public. As you probably all know, I'll be going before the selectmen, or doing a virtual meeting with the selectmen concerning the demolition that was proposed that we turned down on the Monomoy Theater project. So if you want to join in, I will be referencing Steve, Sam, and Darcy at that meeting. So anyways, if you want to join in, you're more than welcome as far as I'm concerned. That's it.
Dan, that meeting is being held on December 22nd?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I didn't say that?
No.
Okay.
That's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
How do we get into it?
So you would go on to the town's website, click on the meeting agendas, and you would click on the remote link through the agenda as anyone would to access any of the public meetings. So you can access it through this virtual format. Otherwise, you can call in if you don't want to be on your computer.
If you don't want to be seen, is that what you're saying?
Well, otherwise you could either contact me or Shauna, and we would send you the direct link to the meeting if you so
Excellent,
choose.
Sarah, as usual. Thank you so much. You were a tremendous help this meeting. All right, folks, you all did a wonderful job. So all I can say is, stay safe until the big day, and wish you all well.
So I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Darcy Seacom will second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I like calling, all of us calling out. That's nice.
Go ahead. Aye, all right.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Have a nice
Anybody
holiday.
disagree? All right.
The
Thanks,
HBDC is officially adjourned at 5:33 p.m.
Thank you, Sarah.